The lifestyle, love the art style, walk.
That's what it sounds like originally.
Of the cloud chasing, bomb kissing us all day to day. Had to move away for a while now.
Yeah, and that's kind of the after. What is up, guys? Today I'm gonna show you exactly how I made one rap song independently, completely from the beginning to an end, all by myself. So maybe at first let's go over kind of the setup, what it is, and also something I want to remind you guys is that you don't need a crazy setup, especially because you're probably not good enough even to have like better setup anyways. So you can do quite a lot with just if you're a producer, just by having a laptop. If you're an artist, having a laptop and a mic, you know, that's it, and headphones. So yeah, let me just go over kind of my setup, and then we go on from there. So there is my laptop, my speakers, and my interface. Well, this black keyboard is usually not here, my main keyboard, and this is my keyboard that I produce all the music with. You know, just the mouse I have two for some reason, and usually my mic is somewhere here, but I just move it out of the way so the camera can be there. But yeah, this is the setup. You don't really need anything too crazy, honestly, with the setup. You know, like the basic, like the minimum is, for a long time I didn't even have the keyboard to play with, so I would just use the keys on the laptop. So you just need the laptop, headphones, and the mic. Even with like mixing and mastering, that's kind of stuff, of course it's better if you have speakers and good acoustics, which I don't have. So if you're someone like me who don't have like any treatment in here, you just need to use headphones. So yeah, you don't need a crazy stuff to begin with. If you think you do, that's just cope. And if you don't think you have the money to buy this stuff, just save. Just save it from something else. You're probably like spending it on some other stupid stuff. You know, laptop, mic, headphones, that's it. And it doesn't need to be like the best prime and most expensive stuff either. So that's the motivational speech part. Now let's get into the music production itself. Let's go. So every time I start making a song, it always starts from making the beat. And there are two ways I usually approach it. One way is I have like a clear idea, clear like vision of what I want to do. It might be like idea of, it's usually combination of things like I want to make a song that is like song A, and also it will be mixed with like song B, kind of like mixture of those two, and then maybe like something else that I saw somewhere in real life. You know, these kind of like crazy mastermind artistic ideas in your mind, and then you just have it in your head. Or maybe you just saw it, like heard a cool song in your dream, and then you just wanna bring it back to life. Then you like kind of start from that, and it's kind of a bit different view compared to the other way, the second way, which is the more common one. Like, this is how I usually do stuff, and this is how I advise people do stuff. So don't overthink it, and just basically I just play stuff randomly on the keyboard, like the melodies, and then when it starts to sound good, I will start thinking about the drums and the bass line, the 808s, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But it all, like the way I usually like to do it, and I do think it's more enjoyable when you just like kind of play around and try to like discover something just by like playing and exploring and trying something like new creative things, you know. But like sometimes you just have this like kind of autistic crazy idea in your head. You just need to like do it exactly like that, you know. And also like if you're a bit of a beginner in the beat making stuff, a good way to learn is to just like try to copy some beats, some instrumentals from songs you like. Also, one thing one thing to remind is like you don't need to learn music theory. Like if you know music theory, good, it's useful, but you don't need to know it to like learn to make beats. You can just like learn by doing, and you kind of like learn listening to this stuff. So with this beat, like sometimes the ideas, like the origin where they come from, is pretty random, and the idea for this actually came from it doesn't sound like that, like the Finnish song doesn't sound anything like that, but the origin idea came from actually the Batman movie soundtrack. Hopefully I won't get copyrighted. I don't remember what the song was, what is it called, but it's the song when, if you haven't seen the movie, it's the song when Bruce Wayne walks into, I think it's like after, spoiler alert, after Alfred goes into hospital and then Bruce Wayne goes to the room and then he starts to like just figure out like what is going on or something. But okay, but the point is this, like some sort of like harp. It sounds like harp or some strings, and there is kind of like kind of the similar vibe. I mean, I didn't like consciously like plan on, oh, I'm gonna make something that sounds like that, because music is how you express yourself. So it's kind of like this unconscious kind of state you want to be in, like this kind of flow state. So I kind of unconsciously, I was like, I usually like to like just play the instruments randomly and just kind of see like what is the sound, how I feel at the moment, and that kind of like resonates with me. And I was playing this and I really liked the vibe, and then it just happened to remind me of, oh yeah, like I just saw the Batman movie and this sounds kind of similar. I didn't like plan on doing it, but then that kind of gave me also like some inspiration. But yeah, this is where it all started, just simple harp stuff. Yeah, I don't know how well you can hear that, but anyways. And then basically how I usually move on, I had the bass of the instrument, and then I just like try different kind of instruments, and then I just play around and see what sounds good basically. So then I added these sounds. And then we get some more stuff. Then there's some like all kinds of like string instruments, and then some like weird eerie sound. And then we have this kind of eerie like the eerie thing, like if you just play it like this, it sounds pretty bad. Like, it's not nice to listen to that. And even like the guitars, it doesn't sound like good either. Especially like samples, sometimes they don't sound good by themselves. When you put everything together, it's like, it just adds something in there. It's not like really strong, but it's just kind of in the back. And I'm a big fan of movie soundtracks in general. Like that's what I listen to mostly, like rap and soundtracks. So I kind of put this thing together. Like it starts from the the harp, then it builds up, dun, dun, dun. And then it starts to like grow a bit more, like eventually. and then eventually it kind of grows into this thing. Like, I don't know how well you can see it, but there just like here you can see it kind of like I keep adding more and more sounds. It keeps growing, kind of like a bit often in soundtracks, like they keep growing like slowly and slowly. It keeps growing, and then it just then it goes back to the beginning. And at some point I realized I don't want this, like, based on the vibe, it's not the kind of song that would have like catchy hook and then a verse and then hook like typically they do, but it would be more like the vibe is more like kind of just like rapping, just like bars, you know, and it's kind of like this, it feels like someone should be telling a story, you know. Well, I'm not telling a story, but you get the idea. That's kind of the vibe. It's not like a hit song vibe, but I wanted it to be kind of interesting, so the kind of dynamic comes from it growing slowly, and then it drops down, and then it comes back, and this is what is. Let's bring the drums, and this is what it sounds like when it comes back. Like, let me play from here actually. Then it goes down, back to the origin. Oh, and by the way, these are like decisions I don't do when I make the beat. When I make the beat, all I did was this. It like grows as big as possible, and then that's it. And then like after I'm like recording the verses and stuff, I start to like arrange it afterwards. So you shouldn't like overthink like, oh, how the structure is gonna be, but just like start recording, and then you will kind of like see like, oh, this like would make sense. It's easier to like structure it kind of at this, like after you're starting to record the verses and during like the recording, if that makes sense. But yeah. And then the kick and the snare comes in. Then it starts to like kind of build up. Like with the drums, like start to build it up. And then it comes like back in full power kind of. Sounds kind of like the levels are kind of ass. I don't know what I was doing here before, leaving the levels like that, but you can barely hear the 808. But you get the idea. And then like, and even same thing with drums. Like at first the drums are like this, and then it grows into. At first I have different kind of hi-hats, and then it grows into this. And then in the end, same thing, like kind of a outro. Yeah. My computer is freezing sometimes because I have like tons of stuff in here, a lot of stuff in the project, and then I always record the vocal. Like this is a bit chaotic. But then I usually record the vocals in the same project. But if you don't have powerful computer enough, which I used to not have, just make the like. And if you're like me trying to do everything by yourself, just make the beat and then export it and record the vocals on another project. This way your computer doesn't need to work so much. So one tip for like complete like beginners in producing is that don't stress too much about like technical stuff. You know, at least like this is what worked for me. You know, like some people like are different. You know, some people learn differently. But for me, it was that just I had like some songs, just try to like copy them. You know, I used to copy a lot of like how like Travis Scott, like how his songs were made, and you know, like my favorite is A$AP Rocky, Travis Scott, and just kind of try to copy it, and that way naturally you will like learn like, oh yeah, they did it this like this and this and this, and that's kind of when you listen to other people's songs and really analyze them and the sounds, that's like you learn the best, you know. Yeah, well, theory is just theory, you know, but I don't think you should not like stress about theory unless you're like complete like idiots and you don't have any like ear for music. Then yeah, maybe. But yeah, just start like copying other instruments if you're a completely beginner. If you're a bit more advanced, then try to like play a lot yourself on the keyboard, and you will naturally kind of like hear what sounds good and what doesn't sound good, you know. But yeah, I think that is it. And next, I will talk about recording the vocals.